Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit Jupiter, square, opposition, or inconjunct one's natal midheaven. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Jupiter, they could be about expanding horizons, going outside the box, so to speak, enthusiasm, exuberance, optimism, hope, jocularity, joviality, truth, and veracity. Now, when you have the transit of Jupiter basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal midheaven, I'm going to elaborate on that. When I say basically adverse aspect, what I'm saying is that, of course, the squares and oppositions are adverse and negative aspects in astrology. The inconjunct, it can be seen as neutral, but neutral aspects can have good and bad in them. And an inconjunct often involves an adjustment and a transition, so that could have some tension and exasperation connected with it. Now, when you have the transit of Jupiter, basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal midheaven, well, it may manifest in expanding horizons, going outside the box, so to speak, enthusiasm, exuberance, optimism, hope, jocularity, joviality, truth, and veracity. This may conflict with one's career and vocation. It could be where you're not really, overly jovial or happy or enthusiastic about doing things that are career related. If the midheaven, is in Taurus as an example, it could be working as a career connected with being a pro. It could be a pawnbroker, a stockbroker, something with finance in general, banking, architecture, agriculture, to some examples. And even you might not be overly joyed with having to do laborious work, whether it's connected with the career or just something else you're doing that has nothing, that's not pertaining to your career. It could be something, service you might be, providing for somebody or whatever it might be, or it could be doing something too, where this transit can also manifest in not having the enthusiasm to do things that are your general responsibilities. If your midheaven is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, it could be home family related responsibilities. It could be getting in touch with ancestors, relatives, or it could even be doing something Cancerian related. It might be something with history or something connected with nostalgia, the past, something with cooking or culinary or something food related. Another thing too is that the midheaven is also connected with the dominant parent, which is often the father. Now, so this can manifest a number of ways. There could be philosophical differences with this person, differences of belief or opinions. It could be where you're not, overly, motivated or enthusiastic in doing matters connected with this person at this point in time. It may be you might have some kind of travel plans, long distance journey plans, I should say, that might be conflicting with matters that are associated, with the dominant parent again, which is often, the father. Say if the transit Jupiter is in Pisces, it might be, a long distance voyage by sea, as an example. It could also be, midheaven is also connected with authority figures. So it can be a time where there can be differences of opinion, the philosophical differences, the difference of beliefs in general with an authority figure. It could be a supervisor, or somebody that is position of authority. If you're in a subordinate role at your position, you have a boss. This could be the time where there can be very strong differences of opinion, philosophy on matters at this time. And the thing about this too is that midheaven is also connected with the reputation and public image. So at this time you have to be careful, because the Jupiter could be about publishing, and something could be slanderous in some cases. It could be, and even it may be true in some cases, that might really adversely affect your reputation, your public image. Um, say, Jupiter, is in Gemini. If you had any charge of any theft or plagiarism, um, even slander, it's something that might be, might have a greater chance of being published and might even affect your career, your vocation, where you could be at. Um, Another thing too is the midheaven is associated with success, and it can be where you have to be, careful about over optimism and be overly exuberant about attaining, some kind of success. If it's something that really, may not be attainable, or it's something that you can't, attain right away, it might be something that you may have to wait a little bit longer on. And it's just very important this time not to be, too over optimistic in regards to that, in terms of, the success that you want to attain at this time. And it can be also, midheaven is connected with notoriety or status and recognition as well. So it might be a time too where you might be involved with something Jupiter related, whether it's publishing or traveling abroad or something with higher education even, that might conflict with you in your attempts to gain some kind of notoriety or recognition, or you might feel that you're not getting what you really deserve in those matters if you are attending college, or you're doing something with publishing, or it could be working as a college professor in some cases, or some travel agency. It could be a Jupiterian profession. This could be the time where you don't feel like you're getting the recognition that maybe you deserve at this time. Now, the midheaven is also associated with achievements and accomplishments. So at this time you might not really be up to actually trying to accomplish too much or achieve too much at this time. Again, you might, as far as Jupiter being connected with exuberance and enthusiasm, you simply might not have that at this time to really to achieve at this point in time, and as far as accomplishing things at this particular moment. And it might be where when the transit ends, you might feel a little bit more up to doing so. But another thing at this time as well, the midheaven is also about attaining authority. And the thing about this is you could be involved doing something Jupiter related that might be conflicting with this. It could be really it could be something again with traveling abroad, or it might be something with publishing or higher education. And it could be in general that if you're involved in college, higher education, it might be conflicting with your career, your vocation, just in general at this point in time. And especially let's say you have an opposition aspect with the two, you might feel like you're in this tug of war with those things at this point in time. Now, anyway, another way this transit may manifest, it could be difficulty in finding, again, the enthusiasm, the exuberance for doing responsibilities at this time. Now, say if the natal midheaven is in Aries, as an example, it could be doing something with welding or carpentry. It might even be a responsibility connected with confrontation, to confront somebody over a particular matter at this time. You might not feel very optimistic in regards to this, and might feel even if you do it, it's going to have some negative outcome at this time. If that would be the case, or it could simply be something that requires certain courage and fortitude on your part that may need to be done, and just in general. Now, another thing too is guard against becoming over optimistic, overly upbeat in career related matters at this time. Now, let's say if the natal midheaven is in Aquarius, as an example, it could be doing a career associated with astrology or astronomy, aerospace, computers, electronics, innovation, even rocket science. In some cases, it might be something associated with so being a electrician, as some other examples, or if you're working as a human rights advocate. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now another thing too, how this transit may manifest, there may be philosophical differences with the dominant parent, which is often the father, and people in positions of authority. It could be an authority figure, a boss or a supervisor at your job. Say if the transit Jupiter is in Gemini, it could be philosophical differences, differences of opinion regarding, being versatile and being able to multitask, and versus maybe just, dissipating the self through lack of an integrating purpose. And there's obviously more than one way to look at many manifold different things. And it could be something too, and even matters with communication. There might be some philosophical differences in that as well. Now, it may also be harder to see the truth, and Jupiter is connected again with truth and veracity. See the truth in your public image, your reputation at this time. If the midheaven is, say, if it's in Pisces, there might be some, you might have established a reputation for being somewhat confused or nebulous or even apathetic, even lethargic in some cases, or just not wanting to take care of things and rather relax. And in contrast to taking care of certain things in your life, it could be also if you're having any issues physically that are anatomically connected with Jupiter, like the sciatic nerve, the hip, the liver, the pancreas. Those things may cause challenges and in performing laborious work. Say if the midheaven is in Virgo as an example, it might be something working as some kind of like a organizer in the home, or trying to just trying to do something with cleaning or sanitation. Or if you're a fitness instructor, or you're trying to do something, it might be associated with just working out vigorously. That could still be laborious efforts. It could be something where you don't have that really that it could be some physical related matter connected with Jupiter, maybe impacting that at this time, and negatively and adversely. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.